Live on Live today, I'm joined by Michael Bahati, who is the founder of Expats Paris, which is organising the Paris Talks conference on the future of humanity to be held here in the French capital next Monday, the 26th of March. It's a one-day conference that is dedicated to big ideas that impact the future of humanity, which promises new approaches to potential solutions to the existing and future challenges facing the world today. Now, Michael Bahati, you're very welcome to the programme today.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me.
And it's great to have you. Now, first and foremost, Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're originally from Uganda, where we have a lot of listeners who tune into us in Kampala. What brought you to Paris?
Oh, man, I moved to Paris, like, let's say, 8 years ago, and I came for work and worked with this marketing agency. And after a few years, I moved, started working as a freelance consultant for small businesses in digital or marketing field. And then a few years ago, I moved and I created Expats Paris, which happens to be a community for expatriates living in Paris. And actually what we used to do, or what we do, is creating and making it possible socially and professionally for these expatriates moving to Paris to get to integrate themselves easily. And
about Expats Paris, how many are in the group at the moment? Where are they mainly from?
Oh man, it's a huge community of English-speaking expatriates living in Paris, and the huge majority comes from Europe. Mm-hmm. And that's something so many people don't know. People tend to think that most of the foreigners living in Paris are Africans, but actually, no. A lot of them come from within Europe and the Eurozone.
Now, let's talk about these Paris Talks that you are organising for next week. Now, the Paris Talks will feature, now I'm quoting you on this, a series of short talks in and around 15 minutes, gathering, here we go, here's the list. Artists, decision makers, inventors, entrepreneurs, educators, scientists, environmentalists, economists, futurists, visionaries, innovators, and all manner of curious and forward-thinking people out there. But really, in a nutshell, who's going to be there? Who's going to be talking?
Who is going to be there is anyone who speaks English, anyone who is interested in the content that we're putting out there. Now, who will be speaking? Where does the content come from? We've got a lot of speakers. We've got a lineup of more than 15 speakers. And this goes from the little artist and comedian 18-year-old girl to this guy, how old is he? I can't tell. More than almost 60 years old. And all these people are experts, starting with this little girl. 12-year-old.
Oh, she's 12.
She's 12. She's a Franco-American girl, and her name is Sienna. And she's worked on a lot of commercials. She's worked on films and with big directors like Luc Besson, and she's worked with a lot of brands. And then we have Rio Miller, who happens to be the former boss of Foresight Department from the UNESCO. And he's going to give a special masterclass on foresight and the UNESCO's methods. We've got a lot of entrepreneurs, and especially this guy coming from Uganda, who will be speaking about, he's going to cover the economy part of the conference and talking about the future of investment and how millennials are disrupting the investment sector.
Uh-huh.
And we've got a wide range of speakers. We also have this girl from the International Energy Agency. She happens to be British, and she's based in Paris. And she'll be talking about energy and what's going to happen and where we're going to get our energy from in the years to come.
So this Paris Talks conference on the future of humanity, you're looking into the future, you're looking into the crystal ball. I suppose one could say no better time for this to be happening. We are living in interesting times. It couldn't come at a better time in 2018. But in your perspective, how do you see the future?
I've been invited lately to speak on that subject. The future happens. The future is going to happen. And no one can decide how the future is going to be.
Is it going to be bright? Is it going to be trouble?
We just have to figure out or to anticipate by anticipating, we've got policies to put in place. How do we want to look at energy, for example, in the years to come? We know that all of our models are kind of dead, or they're reaching their end. We need to change. We basically need to anticipate if we are to have a brighter future.
Well, look at, I mean, the political situation across the globe at the moment. We have social media that has taken over the media. We have populism on the rise in Europe. We have it also in America under the Trump presidency. What is the future of politics, in your opinion, in the next 50 years?
See, at the conference, we're not really going to touch that political part of it, because we are afraid of being biased. And we're going to receive a lot of people from different political, actually.
Yeah, from the political spectrum, yes, I suppose you could say.
Exactly. Yeah. But we did not really want to touch that topic because it's kind of sensitive. But
if you're cracking heads together at this Paris Talks conference, and that is the idea, to get the big ideas out there, you're cracking heads together, what do you expect people to take away from this one-day event?
What we expect people to take away from this event is to give them and to show them and to make them understand that it's up to them to be into action, to get into action, and to do what they think is right. And from that point, it's more of an educational kind of thing. It has nothing to do with all those kind of like any other conference out there. We want people to understand and to listen to all the talks they can, and at the end of the day, to position themselves, to start doing the right thing, what they believe is the right thing to be done for the next and the upcoming generations.
So this is the first such event that you've held now? That's coming up.
This is the very first one.
So do you intend on making this an annual event?
Paris Talks will be an annual event. Mm-hmm. In 2019, we're going to have another one. And in the years to come, we will have other regional talks, and we've got a huge and a long project for other cities.
But Michael, one question I have to ask you is, what inspired you to actually create these Paris Talks, about getting these heads cracked together? I mean, what's your background? You were talking there of marketing, technology, but you're also looking into the future here, and that's kind of an existential matter at the best. What got you into this?
Here is my story, David.
Okay.
I've been hosting events for expatriates living in Paris for 3 years. We've been having these cool events where we come, we meet, we drink, we chat, and at times we would talk about current events. And most of the people that I've been meeting are people that are here for work and people that know pretty many things, people that understand or try to understand what's going on. And from that point of view, we thought that we needed to create something better, create a platform for those people. But also from the personal point of view, this is something I don't always tell. I wanted to go back to school to learn. Mm-hmm. And I was speaking with a few friends and they were like, you know what? Yeah, learning by doing is also another thing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start working on a project, and this project is going to come up with something. So I started researching, I started doing it, and I came up with a whole concept. I built a project, and the project, I brought friends and people and teams around Paris Talks, and here it is. It's coming to pass.
And that's it. So where there's a will, there's a way. So that's an inspiration to everybody out there to just, if you want to do it, just go and do it. But also, when we're talking about the future, and this is the theme of these talks, the future of humanity.
That's right.
We have to look at technology.
Yes.
What, in your opinion, are the positives and negatives of, well, let's just say the trajectory, the evolutionary trajectory of technology, especially social media and its impact on modern lives, especially in Africa, which has made this huge leap from the old analog telephone systems to everybody using WhatsApp. Is it a good or is it a bad thing? How do we keep the balance?
We are going to see how technology and the impact of technology on the human species by the year 2075. So Paris Talks and all the talks at the conference will be around technology. And from the African perspective, we we could not just do social media and we could not just do the conference and technology without bringing Africa on board. So I guess I'm a little bit biased to talk about African, being African myself.
Of course. We'll allow you that. That is not a problem.
So Muriel Diaco, who happens to be Ivorian, and she's an entrepreneur. She's a sustainable entrepreneur. Development entrepreneur. She will actually try to crack the code, try to explain to people why technology is here to help us and why it's already been there and it's helping Africans to get where they are and where they should be. And for her, we should use technology to make people evolve and to make people get away from poverty and to use the resources they have. So basically, technology is just a means to get people from where they are to another point.
But it could also be a means to control people as well. I mean, we still have many African presidents, be they good, be they bad, or be they indifferent, who are now tweeting every day, who are tweeting regularly. So you have people who are picking up their mobile phones and going, I will not mention presidents' names specifically in East Africa, but you will have venerable old school presidents who are tweeting every day. That can also be used for manipulation, surely, in the future.
Well, I guess all the presidents, being in Africa or in the US, for example,
anywhere in the world,
everyone wants to be on there. Everyone wants to be on social media. That's where everyone is. If you want to reach out to the masses, you have to be where the masses are. So, and I guess they're just taking advantage of what's already there.
So this, I suppose one could say that this conference is also an opportunity to educate people about the pros and the cons of the future of technology.
Yes, that's right. So we're going to have, for example, this American lawyer who will be talking about digital parenting, knowing that Africans, for example, nowadays, almost every kid has a smartphone. Mm-hmm. How do they use the data? How do they protect themselves? And there's a lot of things to be done.
Indeed, that's a global issue. I mean, it's for everywhere around the world. Anybody who has kids or children, they're accessing tablets, iPads, iPhones, etc., etc. How do you police that? It's there's no silver bullet.
And this other speaker is going to talk about cybersecurity.
So you've got a whole base there covered about, well, especially the next 20 years, or should I say 50 years.
Yes.
Just tell me, we're going to wrap it up now, Michael. How many people do you hope will be in attendance at the conference next week?
Paris Talks is going to happen at the Théâtre de la Porte Saint-Martin, which is in the 10th arrondissement in Paris, for those traveling to Paris. It's a huge theater. It's one of those prestigious Parisian operas, if I can call it that way. And it has 1,000 seats capacity. And basically, we'll try to make sure that we can use the entire theater.
So you're going to try and make sure you have all the seats filled for that. So it's 1,000 capacity. And you can, of course, get more information on this on paristalks.com.
That's right.
Any more information that we need to know?
Well, I guess we've got it all. Paristalks.com.
Paristalks.com. Michael Bahati, the founder of Expats Paris, and, of course, the paristalks.com, and that conference that's starting next Monday, the 26th of March. Thank you very much, Michael, for being in the studio.
Thanks, David, for having me.
Thank you.